Have you ever caught yourself slowing down without really meaning to? Maybe you're walking through the grocery store and suddenly you realize you're not moving as quickly as you used to. Or perhaps you've noticed your legs feeling heavier at the end of the day, like they're carrying more than just your body weight. These changes can feel small, almost easy to brush off as just part of getting older. But what if your legs are actually trying to tell you something important? As we age, our bodies don't always shout when something is wrong. More often, they whisper. And one of the quietest messengers in your body is your legs and feet. They're far from your heart, far from your brain, and because of that, they're often the first place where circulation, strength, and nerve health begin to decline. The truth is, many serious health conditions don't start with dramatic symptoms. They begin with subtle changes, changes that show up in how you walk, how your legs feel, and even how your feet look. In today's video, we're going to talk about 5 specific signs in your legs and feet that may signal deeper health issues. Things like reduced circulation, heart strain, or nerve damage. These are not meant to scare you. Instead, think of them as early warning signals, because when you catch these signs early, there's so much you can do to improve your health, restore your strength, and continue living life with independence and confidence. Let's start with something that might seem simple, but is actually one of the most powerful indicators of your overall health: how strong your legs feel and how fast you walk. You might not think about your walking speed very often. After all, walking is something you've done your whole life. But doctors and researchers have found that the speed at which you walk is closely linked to how well your body is functioning overall. Some even call it a vital sign, just like your heart rate or blood pressure. Think about it for a moment. Walking isn't just about your legs. It involves your muscles, your heart, your lungs, and your nervous system all working together. When everything is in sync, you move naturally and with ease. But when something starts to decline, whether it's muscle strength, circulation, or balance, you may begin to slow down without even realizing it. Maybe you've noticed that you take more breaks during a walk than you used to. Or perhaps your legs feel tired after a short distance that once felt effortless. You might find yourself choosing shorter routes or avoiding stairs altogether. These changes can feel subtle, but they're worth paying attention to. There's a reason for that. When your walking speed decreases significantly, it can be a sign that your body isn't delivering enough oxygen and nutrients to your muscles. Your heart may be working harder than it should, or your circulation may not be as efficient as it once was. Over time, this can affect not just your mobility, but your overall health. I once heard about a man named George in his mid-70s who used to take a brisk walk every morning around his neighborhood. It was part of his routine, something he enjoyed, but gradually he noticed he wasn't keeping the same pace. He found himself stopping more often, catching his breath, and feeling a little unsteady at times. Like many people, he assumed it was just aging, but when he finally brought it up with his doctor, they discovered that his heart wasn't pumping as efficiently as it should. His slower walking speed was one of the earliest signs. Now, the good news is that this kind of decline doesn't have to be permanent. Your body has an incredible ability to adapt and improve, even later in life. Gentle, consistent movement can make a huge difference. Simple exercises like standing up from a chair and sitting back down slowly, holding onto a counter and doing small squats, or taking short daily walks can help rebuild strength and improve circulation. It's not about pushing yourself to exhaustion, it's about consistency. Even 5 or 10 minutes a day can begin to wake up those muscles and get your blood flowing again. Over time, you may find your steps becoming steadier, your pace improving, and your confidence returning. And just as important as movement is what you're putting into your body. Staying hydrated, eating enough protein, and making sure you're getting the nutrients your muscles need can support that rebuilding process. Stretching your legs gently each day can also improve flexibility and reduce stiffness. Your legs are more than just tools for getting from one place to another. They're a reflection of your vitality. When they feel strong, it often means your body is working well as a whole. And when they begin to weaken or slow down, it's your body's way of asking for attention. Not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, steady whisper. Now, there's another sign that can show up just as quietly, but carries a very different kind of message. It's something many people notice at the end of a long day, especially after sitting or standing for extended periods. You may feel your legs becoming tight, heavy, or swollen, almost as if they're holding on to more than they should. At first, it might seem like a minor inconvenience, something you can ignore or blame on being tired. But when that feeling starts to happen more often, It can be your body signaling that your circulation isn't keeping up the way it used to. When that sense of heaviness starts to linger, it's worth slowing down and really noticing what your body is trying to say. Swelling in the legs and feet, especially around the ankles, is more than just a sign that you've had a long day. It often means that fluid is building up in your tissues because your blood isn't circulating as efficiently as it should. You might notice it in small ways at first, your socks leaving deeper marks on your skin than they used to, your shoes feeling tighter by the evening. Maybe your ankles look a little puffier when you glance down, or your legs feel unusually tired even after light activity. These are easy things to dismiss. Many people do. They chalk it up to age, or to standing too long, or even to the weather. But inside your body, something more important may be happening. In a healthy system, your heart pumps blood down through your body and back up again with the help of your veins and muscles. Your leg muscles in particular act like a pump, pushing blood back toward your heart every time you move. But over time, those veins can weaken. The tiny valves inside them, which are supposed to keep blood flowing in one direction, may not close as tightly as they once did. When that happens, blood can begin to pool in your lower legs, increasing pressure and allowing fluid to leak into the surrounding tissues. That's what creates that swollen, heavy feeling. There's a woman I remember hearing about named Linda in her early 70s. She began noticing that by the end of the day, her ankles looked a little larger than usual. At first, it didn't bother her much. She thought, "I've been on my feet more today, that's all." But over the next few months, the swelling became more noticeable. Her legs felt heavier, and she found herself more tired after simple activities like walking to the mailbox or around the house. Eventually, she decided to mention it during a routine checkup. What her doctor discovered was that her heart was beginning to struggle with pumping efficiently. That swelling wasn't just about her legs, it was an early sign of strain on her heart. This is why it's so important not to ignore these changes. Swelling that happens occasionally might not be a concern, but if you notice it happening regularly, especially several days a week, it deserves your attention. There are gentle, practical steps you can take that make a real difference. One of the simplest is to elevate your legs. When you lie down or sit back and raise your legs slightly above the level of your heart, even for 15 or 20 minutes, you help that fluid move back into circulation. It gives your body a chance to reset. Movement is just as important here as it was before. Even small motions, like flexing your feet up and down while sitting or taking short walks around your home, can help activate your leg muscles and support better blood flow. Your body was designed to move, and even gentle movement can keep your circulation from becoming stagnant. It also helps to pay attention to what you're eating. Too much salt in your diet can cause your body to hold on to excess fluid, making swelling worse. Reducing sodium and staying well hydrated can support your body's natural balance. And of course, checking in with your doctor to evaluate your heart and kidney function can provide valuable insight and peace of mind. Your legs are, in many ways, like a pressure gauge for your body. When they begin to swell, it's often because something deeper is asking for support. Listening to that signal early can help you avoid more serious problems later on. And then there's another kind of signal, one that doesn't feel heavy or swollen, but instead feels strange, almost unfamiliar. It might come as a tingling sensation, like tiny pins and needles in your feet or calves, or a numbness that makes your legs feel slightly disconnected, as if they're not responding the way they should. At first, it might happen occasionally, maybe after sitting too long, or when you wake up in the middle of the night. You might shake your foot or rub your leg, and the feeling fades. It's easy to dismiss. But when that tingling or numbness starts to appear more frequently, or linger longer than it used to, it's another message your body is sending, one that deserves your full attention. That tingling sensation might seem harmless at first, almost like your leg just fell asleep. But when it keeps coming back or starts to linger, it's often a sign that your nerves aren't getting the support they need. And most of the time, that comes back to one key issue: circulation. Your nerves depend on a steady flow of oxygen-rich blood to function properly. When that flow is reduced, even slightly, those nerves begin to react. That's when you feel the pins and needles, the numbness, or even a slight burning sensation. It's your body's way of saying, something isn't reaching me the way it should. There's a story that really brings this to life. A man named Harold, in his late 70s, started noticing a faint buzzing feeling in his feet every evening. It wasn't painful, just unusual. He assumed it was from sitting too long while watching television, but over time the sensation became stronger. It crept up into his calves, and sometimes his feet felt oddly numb when he stood up to walk. One day, he mentioned it during a doctor's visit. After a few tests, the doctor found that his arteries were significantly narrowed. Blood wasn't flowing freely to his lower legs. That tingling he had been ignoring wasn't just discomfort. It was an early warning sign that his circulation was compromised. This kind of condition, often linked to what's called peripheral artery disease, can develop slowly over time. And what makes it tricky is that it doesn't always come with obvious pain right away. Instead, it whispers through sensations like tingling, numbness, or that strange pins and needles feeling. In some cases, it can also be connected to long-term issues like diabetes or vitamin deficiencies, which can affect nerve health. But no matter the cause, the message is the same. Your body needs better support. There are simple ways to start helping your circulation and your nerves. One of the most important is to avoid sitting for long periods without moving. Even if you're watching TV or reading, take a moment every hour to stand up, stretch your legs, or walk around your home. That small action helps get your blood flowing again. Gentle stretching can also make a difference. Moving your ankles in circles, flexing your feet up and down, or lightly massaging your calves can stimulate circulation. Keeping your feet warm is another simple but powerful step, especially in cooler environments where blood vessels tend to tighten. What matters most is not ignoring the signal. Your body doesn't send these sensations without a reason. The earlier you respond, the better your chances of preventing long-term damage. And then for some people, the message becomes even more direct. It's no longer just a strange sensation, it becomes pain. You might notice it when you're walking, a tightness in your calves, a cramp that forces you to stop and rest. At first, it may only happen after a longer walk, but over time, it can appear sooner, after just a few minutes of movement. What's interesting is that the pain often goes away when you stop. You rest for a moment and it fades. So it's easy to think, maybe I just overdid it. But this pattern, pain during movement, relief with rest, is actually one of the clearest signs that your muscles aren't getting enough blood when they need it most. There was an older gentleman named Frank, in his early 80s, who experienced exactly this. He loved his morning walks, but began to notice a cramping sensation in his calves after just a short distance. He would pause, wait for the discomfort to pass, and then continue. At first, he didn't think much of it. But as weeks went by, the distance he could walk before the pain started became shorter and shorter. When he finally spoke to his doctor, tests revealed that the arteries in his legs were partially blocked. His muscles weren't receiving enough oxygen during activity, which caused that painful cramping. And what was even more concerning was that this kind of blockage doesn't usually happen in isolation. The same process can affect the arteries in the heart and brain. That's why this kind of pain is so important to take seriously. It's not just about your legs, it's about your overall cardiovascular health. The encouraging part is that even here, there are ways to improve. Gentle, consistent walking, done at your own pace, can actually help your body build better circulation over time. It may sound surprising, but moving within your limits, resting when needed, and gradually increasing your activity can encourage new blood pathways to form. Making small lifestyle changes can also protect your arteries. Reducing processed foods, avoiding smoking, and choosing foods that support heart health all play a role. Keeping your legs warm, especially in cooler weather, helps maintain good blood flow as well. Your legs do more than carry you. They assist your heart in moving blood through your body. So when they begin to hurt in this way, it's often a sign that your heart is under more strain than it should be. And sometimes the signal becomes even quieter again, but just as serious. It shows up not as pain or tingling, but as a change you can actually see. Your feet may feel colder than usual even when the room is warm. You might notice a pale tone, or even a slight bluish or purplish color in your toes. It can seem like a minor thing. Cold feet happen, after all. But when it becomes frequent or persistent, it's often your body's way of showing that blood isn't reaching the farthest parts of your body the way it needs to. And when that happens, when your feet feel cold more often than they used to, or you begin to notice a change in color, it's important to pause and really take that seriously, because your feet are the farthest point from your heart, and they are often the first place where reduced blood flow shows up. There was a woman named Doris in her early 80s who noticed something very similar. No matter how many socks she wore, her feet always felt cold. At night, she began to see that her toes looked pale, almost gray. She assumed it was just part of getting older, something she had to live with. But during a routine checkup, her doctor discovered that her blood vessels had narrowed significantly. Her circulation was compromised, and her body was struggling to deliver enough oxygen to her lower limbs. What seemed like a small inconvenience was actually an early warning sign of a much bigger issue. When blood flow is reduced for long periods, it doesn't just cause discomfort. It can lead to slow healing, increased risk of infection, and in more serious cases, damage to the tissues themselves. And just like with the other signs we've talked about, this isn't only about your feet, it reflects what may be happening throughout your entire cardiovascular system. If you notice that your feet are often colder than the rest of your body, or that the color changes throughout the day, there are gentle ways to support your circulation. Keeping your legs warm, moving regularly, and avoiding long periods of sitting can all help improve blood flow. Even small movements like wiggling your toes or rotating your ankles can encourage circulation when you're seated. What matters most is awareness, because when you step back and look at all of these signs together, the slowing pace, the heaviness, the tingling, the pain, the coldness, you begin to see a pattern. Your body is communicating, not loudly, not urgently, but consistently. It's offering you a chance to respond before small issues become serious problems. And here's the part that many people don't realize. These signs are not a sentence. They are not a prediction that something bad will happen. They are an invitation to pay attention, an invitation to care for your body in a deeper way, an invitation to make small changes that can lead to meaningful improvements. Your body is incredibly resilient, even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. It responds to movement, it responds to nourishment, it responds to care. Every step you take, even a short one around your home, is a signal to your body to keep going. Every stretch, every glass of water, every healthy meal is a step toward better circulation, stronger muscles, and a healthier heart. You don't have to make dramatic changes overnight. In fact, it's the small, consistent actions that often make the biggest difference. Choosing to move a little more today than yesterday. Choosing to listen when your body feels different. Choosing not to ignore what you already know deep down, because your legs have carried you through every stage of your life. They've supported you, moved you forward, and helped you experience the world. And now, they're asking for a little more attention in return. So take a moment after this video. Notice how your legs feel. Notice how you walk. Notice what your body might be telling you. And if something doesn't feel quite right, don't ignore it. Start small. Take action. Talk to your doctor if needed. You deserve to feel strong, steady, and confident in your own body. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Share in the comments what you've noticed about your own legs or what small change you're planning to make starting today. Your experience might help someone else feel less alone. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. There's so much more we can explore together to help you stay healthy, independent, and full of life. Because no matter your age, it's never too late to listen to your body and take one more strong step forward.